Well, Bo Bradley, and you're with Williamsport Memorial Library.
That's right.
But that's Washington County, Maryland. And it's really, you're in the Hagerstown area, right? Just outside.
That's right.
And I met you a week or two ago because I came up to the library and gave a speech. It was terrific, and you were wonderful out there. The people were great to talk to. And there's a little cafe right downtown, which I really loved. And the guy there was so nice. He had a poster of me being at your library. And he bought me dinner and everything.
That's right. We try to treat you right around here.
So it was really nice. But you said something so important, I thought. That's why I wanted to talk to you. When I was there, you told the audience, because I talked about how to use the internet to get money and start businesses and all this kind of stuff. And you said that people could come into your library certain hours of the day, and you help them set up a website store and stuff like that. Man!
Absolutely.
Wow! Is this done in other libraries, or are you the only one in the world doing this?
There are other libraries that are offering all kinds of different services like this. I wanted to start doing something like it, and I thought instead of trying to make it really specific for just a couple things, I said, well, I'll just use whatever I have. You can come in, you can ask me a question. The worst I can say is, I don't know. Let's try to find something. But, I found a lot of people who are coming in have pretty basic questions. They just kind of need enough to get going, and they can figure out the rest themselves.
Yeah, I guess we're all that way. The unknown makes us just stay away from the water,
Yeah, I help a lot of people who they've never used computers before. Maybe they're older, or they've worked for a long time in a job where they didn't have to use it. And they're coming back to it, and they're nervous, they're scared, they don't know. And they're worried they're going to mess it up and all that stuff.
Exactly. The machine will start smoking or something.
Yeah, that's right. and I'll throw them out of the library.
Right. But the important thing, the fee you charge isn't much at all, is it?
No, Matthew, it's a big fat zero. I don't charge a dime.
I know, that's why I can't get over. We have these experts out there. See, if you Google for help, you'll get some guy who's going to charge you money because you're Googling for it. He knows you want help, and he'll charge you because you don't know that Bo is down the street doing it for free.
That's right. Let me tell you, if you still think of your public library just in terms of checking books out and maybe doing your summer reading program, and that's all you think we do, you're dead wrong at this point in time. And we do so many things nowadays along these lines to help people. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I believe. I've been, at libraries giving speeches where they have maker communities. People, come in and use a 3D printer and all this kind of stuff. It's terrific, and they have lend-lease toys or whatever, not toy, but real stuff you could use. But it's the education. That's why I think, the library is still such an important part of our community.
Absolutely.
And people used to line up to the video stores, and I thought, boy, that was stupid, man. The library's more important.
That's right. The library, we're about connecting people with the resources that they need. And that usually means resources they can't just go out and get on their own due to cost or accessibility or whatever. And that used to just be the books and the reference material. Right. And, it's funny now because there was a point in time where people thought bringing computers and the internet into libraries was crazy. It's like, well, that's not what you do. That's not it, and it's such just a core, normal part of what we do. And so libraries are always looking for what's that next thing we can go out and we want to grab you in one hand and this thing in the other and put it together. That's what we do. Boy,
that's all you need in life. You don't need anything else in my mind. Everybody else is selling you stuff you can get from the library for free. And there's another, actually, you talk about resource. Another resource I think is great you guys have is like access to specialized databases that the individual can't afford. Like the Foundation Center. If you're looking for private sector grants from foundations, man, you guys got it. And what's cool about coming to you guys is that you know how to use it.
That's right. And and if you're in an area with a bigger library, and I'm not even talking about like the New York Public Library.
Right.
If you're going to your kind of central library, they're probably going to have a business librarian,
right,
or all this stuff. People who specialize and know this stuff,
right,
and they know the area well. So if you're looking to start that business or do this or that, they have those resources, and they're the expert that's going to be able to show you, like you said, how to do all this stuff.
And to me, what's, I think everybody now, we've been, Google has, educated us that you get anything you want in Google. Yeah, but it's explosion is what you get. I mean, a lot of people come to me, I want a business grant. So if you go on Google and put in business grant, you literally get 50 million websites, and you're not going to live long enough.
and let me tell you something. This is some librarian wisdom. When you do a Google search, especially for stuff like that, those first few pages of results are people who have paid to be there. They're the ones who say, I want Google, I'm going to pay you money, because that's how Google makes money.
Absolutely.
And they're saying, put me up first. So when someone types in business grants or this or that, they want to be first, and that's usually someone who then wants to turn around and make money off you. You're not going to get that great result first that's like, here's how it is. We'll sell it to you.
And another reason I think that happens, because the person who's giving it for free, like you have maybe a free grant in Hagerstown to start a business. Well, they don't have money to advertise on Google.
That's right. That's right. All these like great local resources, and that's why you won't see your public library first.
Right.
You don't have the money to pay out.
You guys know this stuff. You've been there before.
Exactly.
You're doing it. That's why now that I'm thinking about this more, is that you guys are so much more important now, because there's so much crap on the internet that you get frustrated. You don't know how to use it. You can't get what you want. And what happens? You fall into bed with the first sucker who you feel comfortable with, and give them money and hope you get the answer, and you won't.
That's exactly right. We say Google will give you a million answers. A librarian will give you the right answer.
Wow, that's great.
Write that down. Write that
down. I believe, man, and that's what it's about. See, to me, it used to be the phone, and that's why I used to like. Because you go and you don't know what's good, bad. You call the expert or whatever, and on a phone, and so call the reference librarian or whatever. But and now it's still a people business. No matter how much stuff is on the internet, everybody. Oh, I don't need it, but yes, you do. You need it even more, because they're just the information is growing exponentially.
Right. And the thing to think, when you talk to your librarian, we don't have the ulterior motive.
Right.
We're not going to get you to that point and say,
absolutely.
Now, just $30.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm already getting paid to be there. I like helping people.
Right.
That's why I'm
absolutely.
And
to me, the person who's out there selling you something, when they're selling you the one thing, they're thinking what else they could sell you.
How can they get you hooked in? How can they get
right? And they spend their whole life thinking like that, and they can't get out of it. Even no matter how good they feel their heart is, man, they're still trying to. But you guys are pure, just trying to help somebody. Where else are you gonna get that? Not even your own home.
I know. It's subversive in this day and age. I mean, it's crazy.
I know. It's so important, because information is so important. And if you don't have access to the world, if you don't have access to the world, to the web, you can't communicate in the world. You can't do business. You can't do almost anything.
And even more dangerous is not the information; it's the disinformation.
Yes.
It's people who are misleading you and leading. And we're the only people that can do this for you.
Right.
We're the only one. That's never the case. That's never the case.
Absolutely.
We fight against that constantly.
No, it's knowing your options in life.
Right.
And it's just so easy. But when you see 50 million websites, you're gonna. The first sweet voice, you're going to jump in bed with that.
Right. There are a lot of really nice, slick-looking websites.
God!
Pretty pictures of like the beach, and they'll make you feel comfortable. And maybe they'll have a little nice music.
Right.
And then they'll hit that point where it'll say, "Well, now put your credit card in."
Right.
Give me this. Oh man, I see it all.
Oh man. Oh well, we got to start a crusade there, bro. Because I believe it, and I'm even thinking of getting back to real research. See, that's what I used to do. I used to do like research papers for businessmen. They pay me thousands of dollars to go to the library and find out. And now it's the same thing. And if people, we have a bigger problem now than ever. with information because of the explosion, and so there's more hucksters out there. I mean, a huckster couldn't print thousands of books and have them in the library, you know.
Right.
But for $10, I could print a book and have it on the internet, and you know.
Right. Exactly.
And now I see even movies I can put on the internet. I could do like here I'm videotaping now.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so there's just going to be more junk out there. And we need cops. Where's the internet cops? Yeah, I mean,
and that's what the internet, as long as it's been around, it's always been like totally free and easy,
yes.
Wild West, like, and that's, I think personally, that's for the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, is to not control, because it's so much there, but. Yeah, I mean that's the danger you run into out there if you don't know how to navigate those waters.
Right.
It is free for all.
Right.
So.
Now you got to be armed.
That's right.
Yeah, and the principles, of being armed. So in other words, okay, let's take a case. Okay, I want to start a business. Yeah, I have a computer at home. I sort of go on email. I surf the net or whatever, look a little porn or
whatever you got to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But hey, all these people talk me to start a business. So I say, well, how do I start a little store? Or maybe, the SD, you're familiar with them. I don't know, a lot of people are, but that's a place on the internet. You could set up your own store. Maybe you're doing crafts at home, right? Yeah. And say, well, how do I sell that? And so one place, a very big, I mean, they're worth billions of dollars, this company. You could put a store like for 20 cents or something like that, have a store, right, on SD. But, oh, God, what is this called? URL, MeRU, or what?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you're just starting like that, it's a lot. I mean, and it's hard to come at. So.
Yeah. So I could come down to your library, like certain hours, yeah?
That's right. Every Friday, I block out a few hours to help people with this kind of stuff. And we come in, and I'll sit right down there with you, and we'll go through. And I've never set up an Etsy store, but I've done enough things online to where I know what they're going to ask and what they're going to expect, and I can help you walk you right through it, and I can get you going.
Yeah.
And just another little side thing, since we're talking about starting a business. Say you didn't want to start an online business. Say you want to open a coffee shop.
Right.
So you want to go out and maybe find some investors and all that stuff.
Right.
But you've never done any of that. You've never written a business plan. You can come into the library, and we have books and books of pre-made business plans for all these different businesses. And so you could start, and we can get you resources on entrepreneurship and starting a small business, and we can hook you up with that business librarian that we have.
Right.
And there's all these resources there to where if you want to go out and start a traditional business, we can help you. If you want to go start an e-business, and again, that's the kind of stuff you would pay big bucks for online. For me to say, well, gosh, I want to start a coffee shop. Oh, great, I have this template for a coffee shop business plan. I'll sell it to you for $150.
That's right.
And you can come in and, photocopy at 15 cents a page.
Right, so good old Bo will do this. And Bo's not trying to upsell you to something else. Well, you're just terrific. My tape is going to run out, or my CD, or whatever the heck it is nowadays. And but I got to do more of this. We got to educate people more about what's going on, how they're getting trapped into buying stuff and wasting time that they don't have to. Resources like you, public library is still the best source of information, because we can't keep up on everything, and your hearts are in the right place like nobody else. You're never going to charge a nickel for anything. Yeah.
And let me tell you one thing, Matthew, before I go. If your library is not doing this stuff, go talk to them. Tell them you want it. Go request it. Show them there's interest in it. And if you see something cool at your local library, something you're excited about, go to it. Go actually participate, because that's the worst thing. When we plan things, if we don't get any response, we say, oh, that didn't work, let's move on. We're going to keep trying new things. But go talk to them and tell your librarians you want this stuff, whether you're at the tiniest little library in the Podunk Falls, Iowa, or you're at the New York Public Library or somewhere gigantic. Go talk to them and tell them what you want to see. Maybe they're already doing it, or maybe they'll want you to come in and help start it with.
Exactly. Or maybe the library down the street is. They'll know, somebody else does it. Everything. And it's for free. So why pay something when it's for free? And this is your tax dollars. Everybody bitches about the government and they don't use it.
That's right. Here in Washington County, where I work, you pay roughly $18 a year to the library. Because when we have people come from out of state,
right.
That's what we have to charge them.
I see.
So $18, if you come in and you check out of 3 movies, you've already made that back instead of buying.
Absolutely. Wow.
If you check out a few books, get a few things for the kids, you've already made that money back on one visit. So if we want to talk about return on investment.
Absolutely. This is it. Well, Bo, thank you very much. So you're at the Williamsport Memorial Library in Washington County, Maryland. Bo Bradley, man, a hero to the information industry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
I'll be back anytime.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.